Welcome everybody to another Indie Dev Showcase video here on the channel. Every week, I recap 6 of the many indie games we play for our Wednesday night streams. If I submit a game for a future stream and video, please get in touch. Unless otherwise stated, these games are played with press keys or demos from festivals and whatnot. And we are beginning with the Alien Cube. This is a first-person adventure game that's described as Lovecraftian horror. And it doesn't look too bad right now. But our story is that one day we stumble across a strange incident that also involves our uncle, I believe. And, of course, things take a turn for the weird. As you need to figure out what is happening, try not to get killed, and of course walk around a whole lot of very detailed environments that are made use of thanks to the Cry engine. So the gameplay itself definitely falls into the adventure quote-unquote walking sim style. Each chapter you're going to be exploring a different environment, trying to solve puzzles, and hopefully nothing jump scares you away from the game. Like I said a second ago, the detail of the game is really quite nice, and it does give that very good sense of, forebodingness when something bad is about to happen. But as with games of this kind, how much you're going to enjoy it is going to come down to how much do you like exploring these rooms, looking for that one hot spot or that one item that you didn't quite notice that you needed to pick up for somewhere else. When we played the demo of this one, there was I think 1 or 2 moments of some scares, but I think it was more on the event or very scripted side. So I don't know how far it goes in terms of, any kind of stealth or, generally pure horror scenarios. Other than listening to some very jazzy music right there. But definitely an interesting game, and this is one that at the end of the demo I was kind of interested to see, where else they're going to go with it. With that said, for our next game, this is Shiro. Now, the footage that you're seeing from this was played during the summer festival, but we did do a complete run of this with the 1.0 build a few months later. And content-wise, things didn't really change as much, so I'm going to use this footage. This is a 2D platformer, kind of like one part Super Meat Boy, one part like The Messenger, or a hack and slash action game. The story is that we play as Shiro here, who finds that her sister has been kidnapped by an evil witch. And to get her back, we are going to have to do a whole lot of platforming, and I guess kanji jumping as well. So the physics of this game are kind of like simulated to be a little bit on the weightier side. Like there's like a very minor delay when you go to jump, and when you're swinging and slashing at enemies, it does allow you to kind of carry your momentum. Now, your character here only can take one hit and then they die, but every enemy in this game is very flimsy in that regard. The game checkpoints pretty regularly, which is important because this can be on the harder side. I don't know if I would say this goes to like Super Meat Boy levels of difficulty, but the game is going to task you with doing a lot of actions and jumps very quickly. Now, you're not going to unlock any new abilities or tech in this game. Everything that you have at the start is going to be what's going to carry you all the way through to the very end. And lengthwise, this is on the shorter side. I think it took us just under 2 hours to beat this game in the 1.0 version. Combat can be a little bit on the annoying side when you start running to enemies who can kind of react faster or have multiple hits, but that was toned down, I think, a lot from the demo than what was in 1.0. So I did enjoy Shiro. If you are a fan of challenging platformers and looking for something that's on the short and challenging side, then check this one out. But if you don't like that level of difficulty, and you're looking for something that may be either longer or more approachable, this game may be a little too advanced for you in that aspect. being about advance, our next game is Gunblocks. This is a demo that we tried out, and it is a very interesting one. This is what if Tetris meets a puzzle game meets a pinch of run and gun. And it's a combination that it may be, I think, on the advanced side, but if this does look appealing to you, I think this is a very fascinating game. So the story is that we are a robot who has crash landed on this planet, and we need to find a missing cargo. Standing in our way are going to be robots that have gone aggressive, the local wildlife, and just the land itself. So how this works is that the game is played turn-based. Your job is to move through these areas as you collect tetraminos, which are then used to be used as platforming, bridges, and whatnot. So as you can see, when I place it down, your character normally gets put up on top of it. So you need to shoot enemies or get in a position to get away from them before they get a chance to attack. So you can do those 3 commands that you see in the upper right: place a block, shoot, or take 3 steps forward. It's a very interesting idea in terms of its design, as you're free to figure out exactly what you want to do in order to solve these puzzles. Do you just want to kind of move forward and ignore enemies? You can do that. Do you want to try and destroy every drone and droid that gets in your way? Go for that as well. And like I said a minute ago, this is one of those games that is such a unique aspect to it that I feel that it may be a little inaccessible to people who aren't already in on something like unique like this. But if this does sound interesting to you, then you should definitely try the demo of it. And I'm really curious to see where things go in terms of this design, specifically in terms of more depth or systems that are added on top of this. Because right now, your basic strategy is going to be the same as you move through, at least it was from this demo. But there is certainly a lot of potential for something that is unique in terms of this kind of Tetris puzzle action kind of design. So, with that said, we're going to take our quick break now, and when we come back, we have 3 more games to look at. But in the meantime, if you're interested in learning more about game design, then here are some of the books I've written on the topic. For entry-level students, we have 20 Essential Games to Study, and then the Game Design Deep Dive series that takes an extensive look at different genres, with horror coming by the end of 2021. For our next game, we have The Wizard and the Slug. This was played as a demo, but the full game is out now. So this is a humorous action platformer, where we play as, well, this kind of slime character, even though it's described as a slug in the title. And our mission is to help this wizard kind of reclaim her throne. And in order to do that, we're going to go on a little platforming adventure. So the kind of twist of this one is that we can change the size of our slug slime, however we want to call it, by launching parts of our body out. The more pieces we have will affect what we can do as well as our overall momentum. And the game is kind of set up to be, I don't know if I would describe this as like casual platforming, but it seemed to be on the easier side. You can essentially triple jump when you're in your full form, as you can see as I'm launching my character out. And the game is going for a lot of self-referential humor. There's different references. It's very quippy, if you know what that means. And from what I played of the demo, the platforming seemed to be pretty nice. Now, the story page did hint at there being more challenges and harder things to do, but we really didn't get to see that in this demo. But there's definitely some very weird and interesting things, such as Banana Man here, who turned out to be the demo's final boss. Now, I don't know if he's in the full game or not, but definitely a little surprise for the end of the demo itself. And I could see maybe playing this one on stream if people want to see it as kind of like the full game. And if you are a fan of platformers and you like, again, very weird and, crazy humor like this, then give The Wizard and the Slug a look, because I believe the demo is still available now. Up now, we turn to Terra Pulse. This is a top-down action-adventure game. The story page describes it as Metroidvania-esque, and the general combat and flow reminds me a little bit of Hyper Light Drifter. The story is that it is the very, very far future, and after a robot uprising and the fall of civilization, humanity is trying to rebuild things. And you play as Lena here, who has come to the destroyed remains of Rio de Janeiro to find her mother. And from what we played of this on stream, there's certainly some exciting things about it. Combat felt very responsive, and you're able to unlock new abilities and powers, and again, that Metroidvania vibe as you play through it. Your main threats are going to be the mutated and overgrown wildlife, as well as robots who don't exactly like humans. So the general gameplay loop is explore, get into these kinds of arena fights, find whatever items and MacGuffins you need, and then move to the next area. Now, the demo itself, we really didn't get a good shot at seeing everything there has to offer in terms of progression and unlocks. We did get a long-range gun that we can use for attacking with limited ammo. I think it recharges in this one. But I was liking this game, and this is one that I'm definitely interested in playing in full when the game is released, I believe by the end of 2021 or early 2022. For our final game, this is Moduwar, and it's been a very long time since we've seen somebody attempt something unique or different with RTS gameplay, and Moduwar definitely fits that bill. So the key mechanic of this game is that we play as this kind of living island, as you see right there. And by harvesting resources, we're able to create colonies and additional landmass on our little shape here, which we can then detach, and they become our quasi-units. So essentially, we can either have one giant base that then does, all kinds of things, massive damage, or we split ourselves up and essentially we are creating customized units. It kind of gives off that almost Incredible Creatures vibe, if you remember that game from, I think it was the late 90s, early thousands. And as the game goes on, you unlock different module types so you can evolve and put onto your character or transform into those units. And the game follows kind of the rock, paper, scissors logic that some types are better against certain structures or enemies and vice versa. And it both, I think, helps and kind of hinders this game from what I played in the demo. My main issue that I had is that it felt a little cumbersome to play. You see, in order to do anything, you need to make sure you have enough resources, then you need to attach them in the right spots on your island to then be able to then separate that into a chunk. And then each chunk, or as you evolve your ship, or your different parts, will affect its speed. So as you can see, my thinner one up there is moving far faster than my main hub that's a lot slower. Now you can of course attach and detach things, as you saw right there. But the problem that I had with this game is that it felt like it's going to take a long time to play. It doesn't feel as speedy or snappy as something like Command & Conquer or StarCraft. It feels more on the methodical side, kind of like an Age of Empires. So what ends up happening, of course, is that due to how slow it is to get resources and prepare, if you build the wrong units, or you bring a rock to a paper fight, then you're going to have to spend time, rebuild everything again, and then try it another way. And I would like to see maybe things be a little bit faster, or being able to kind of, I guess, make the flow a little bit better. But again, keep in mind that this is played during the Steam, I think this was the Summer Festival demo of Moduwar, and I'm sure things have been improved and refined since. So, if you're an RTS fan looking for something very different, then this is definitely a game you want to keep an eye out for when it's released. I don't believe the demo of it is still available now, but who knows, it may be back on by the time you're watching this video. So with all that said, we're going to wrap up this spotlight here for tonight. As always, I would like to thank the developers who released the games that we had a chance to look at. You'll find links to all their store pages in the description down below. And if you'd like me to take a look at your game in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I am always taking submissions for titles. Check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where he's in the art and science of games. Until next time, take care.